What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now, I know I've been pretty quiet about what's going on with the car, what's the plan for the car, when is it getting dyno, when is all the fun stuff coming. In this episode, we will talk about that. Alright, so got my board here, and still haven't quite figured out where I want to put this board, but at least this thing showed up. What I'm kind of thinking is moving all this stuff right here, cleaning it up, and just putting it right here. So I want to go over all the little things that needs to get done for us to actually make it to race day and dyno day. So I got new bits, guys. Forgot I bought these. Check this out. This should help out a lot when I'm trying to shape something, because I've always felt like I needed something like this, but obviously my bit that I have looks like that. It's kind of random, just wanted to share with you guys. Alright, I actually didn't measure this out, but this board actually fits perfectly. Check that out. Check out the clearance on there and right over here. It's literally right on the money. Alright, so got that mounted. I acted like that was a big deal. It wasn't that big of a deal, but I got that hanged up. So let's start filling it in with some information. Alright, so that was a lot more than anticipated, and I think I actually forgot something here in the bottom. Actually, I'll put it up here. I'm gonna rewire interior. So now I gotta change this. Alright, so let me go over this right quick, and I have it broken down by month. So I have one for April, or for March, April, May, June, July, August, and then the fun stuff happens somewhere around in September. I guess technically in June there'll be a little bit of excitement because we're planning to be able to dyno the car. Now granted, this is a pretty aggressive timeline, so it might be a bit of a delay, maybe like a month and a half. If I can stick to it, we should be all on time, and if I can get it done faster, obviously I'd prefer to do that, but if I can't, it'll probably be a month and a half to a month, or a month to a month and a half behind. So we're ending March, and I plan to basically redo my radiator. Mounting, I'm gonna flip it and then mount my fan, and then do the grill for the trunk. For April, we'll be covering the headlights, install the water injection, mount the boost controller, mount the temp gauge, and then kind of just go into the rewiring. So I'll be rewiring everything from the fuel pump, the battery wiring, the radiator fine wiring, and also installing a dual pump. And then for the last week of April, I'll be doing some random things like mount the ECU, do my spring, strut, brake rotor pads, and some random wiring I need to finish in the interior. And then come May, I'm gonna have to pull out the engine once more to do this full list of stuff right here. It's just really a bunch of random stuff that I need to finish up. Like, I want to be able to paint the engine bay, some of the metal, for example, or like that right there, that's exposed, and then kind of just clean up all this area right here, and just overall engine bay cleanup. There is a major one that I need to fix, which is a turbo drain issue that I'm having. I need more clearance on it. I need a little bit more space. This oil turn right here hits the frame rail, so when the engine flexes a little bit, it hits that. And it's kind of the same on this side. The two front ones are okay because they're kind of just wide open. And of course, this will be a good time to change everything to solid engine mount. This is definitely something that I should have done from the start, but I didn't. I do have the DTS mounted, or bought, which now I've lost. It was somewhere over here. Oh, there it is. Because of my goal, I will be officially doing that AC delete, so I won't be installing the AC on this car anymore. Also, no heater. And then comes June. So, finally, we get into some tuning. Well, more tuning. Really, all this time, if I can get some tuning time, I will. But June is really just to focus on the tuning, because the intent is to get it on a dyno. After that, then we get into some tires, and wide body kit. Now I bought that a while back, and it's just really to get an idea whether or not I like the look, I like how it's gonna fit, and one, I guess, also if it will actually fit. Now this tuning is a street tuning, so I don't really want to get into the body kit and rip out all this stuff. So yeah, that's why we're doing the wide body kit after we do the tuning, because I'll be doing a lot of street tune, and I don't want to have just, yeah. Anyway, besides the point. That's my plan. In August, we should be going for some weight reduction. So yes, the full climate control would probably be deleted, or most likely. If I don't run AC and I don't run heater, there's no point to this stuff. And then we'll get into radiator, race seats, and whatever else random stuff. Now cage will need to be installed because of this goal that's happening on November. Okay, so then we kind of skipped September, October, and went to November. But well, my goal for September is to get into the 1000 all-wheel horsepower. October is kind of blank because it's kind of driven by that. So if I don't achieve it by September, the goal is to achieve it by October. And the goal is to have that to be able to do this. Although that probably won't be enough to do that, but we'll try anyway. Now the event is called Shift Sector, and it's a half-mile racing, and it's at Coalinga. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's local to me. I think the all-wheel drive was dominated by like the GTRs, and they were running like 213 and whatnot. I'll probably run the manual and sedan on the first day. If I do run both days, I'll probably run one of those events, and then I'll see how the all-wheel drive is doing for Saturday. Because to me, while I'd like to claim the all-wheel drive, the GTR owns that class. Well, it seems like GTR owns that class. It would be kind of pointless to me if I'm only running like 190. There would be no reason for me to run on a class that runs 230. So for the time being, I think it might be best to run manual or sedan and then switch for the other days. You could only really run one class anyway, so that's the thing. Alright, so the V5S4 quad turbo all-wheel drive manual, which is, of course, that. I want to hit 800 horse this year, 1000 horse this year. This 800 will most likely happen around June, maybe 700. Hopefully 800. But I'm thinking I'd probably get 700 around this time. So, 1000 horse by the end of this year. By mid-2022, I want to be able to hit 1500. And then end of 2022, 2000. That's pretty heavy. Like, heavy. Like, I'm not sure how I'm going to pull that off. But, you know. Can't put like a little goal, right? Then it wouldn't be a goal. Alright, the miles per hour is kind of reflected on what I can get out of this. If I can get into 1000 horse, ideally in the 1200, I think I can do 200 miles per hour if I have the gearing and all that. I haven't really gotten into the deep down science and calculation and all that, but at least in theory, if I have about 1000 to like, well, more like 1200 really, I might be able to hit 200 miles per hour. And at 2000, 1500 or so, I think it's closer, maybe like 1700, will net me the 240 miles per hour kind of goal. These are just some random goal that I picked out. I just want to hit 200 miles per hour, and at 240, it's just nice. And of course, if I can net that goal right here, I should be able to claim this by 2022. As soon as I get that, that will be mine. And of course, the race weight of 2,800 pounds, which is ridiculously light. Ridiculous. I really don't know how I'm going to be able to do that with this car. But you know what? I can't just put an easy goal because it wouldn't really be a goal if it's, you know, within reach today. So yeah, that's the goal for this. Oh man, I forgot I need to clean up the hood. Gotta add one more. So we'll put that right in July. So anyway, as I was saying, that's the goal. So you guys know where we're heading. And yeah, I think we can do it. No, let me rephrase that. We can do it. Alright, but before we can get there, we gotta start on this list. So today's agenda is mount the radiator and flip it. And of course mount the fan, but maybe I'll do that next week. Okay, so here's the main reason why I'm flipping this after I already made the mount. Technically now I have to remake the mount. But the main reason I'm flipping it is because when I have it like this point right here is the highest, and of course this point right here is the highest. As you guys can see, I'm having some major issues with this radiator not bleeding out. Don't worry about the rusting. I'm not using coolant, and of course I'm not using coolant because I'm having bleeding issues and I don't want to have coolant all over the place. So I figured if I flip the radiator, then I can just kind of route this downward. So this will be on the lower end, and now the higher end will be the top of the radiator, and I could possibly utilize, I'm not going to reuse this one, I'm going to use something else, but I can now utilize the expansion tank a lot better. So that's the goal for today. Let's get that done. Alright, so I think I'm going back to how I had this mounted before, something like that. Alright guys, so far got one side done. Feels pretty solid, so I think that will be good. I'll turn on the light here so you guys can see. So far I think it's pretty good. Feels pretty solid. Yeah, let's see. Only thing left now is this side right here, and then we'll start doing the top radiator mounts. Let's see, how should I do this? Put you guys back on the stand while I think about this. So I'm done with the lower mount on the radiator, but before I make the upper mount, I'm actually gonna go ahead and try it to see if my bleeding issue kind of continues with this setup. I don't want to have to make a whole new mount and do all this stuff just for it to not work. So I'm gonna go ahead and try it first, and let me show you guys what's going on. So from the back end, just kind of strapped it on there, just, you know, just to get it on there so it has enough cooling from the fan. Alright, so from the back end here, so as you guys can see, the lower radiator now is no longer the high point, or no longer a high point, as well as the top one right here. So I should be able to fill the radiator up to like right where this thing is, and it should be able to cool it just fine. Now what you guys see going across here is actually the steam valve, or the steam port from the engine that goes all the way through here. We'll see if this works well or if it doesn't work well. Yeah. Alright guys, let me walk you guys through with what's going on with the car. I think we got it working. As you guys can see, I had quite a bit of trouble trying to bleed the system, and I actually figured out that it's the vent tubes from the top right here, the one that goes out right here and whatnot. I used to route that to the bottom, but I guess that gets jammed up with a lot of coolant, because when I route it in the top, it bleeds no problem. So I gotta figure out how to route that, maybe on a pillar inside and come back down, but routing it under the car doesn't work. So I have to route this vent tube to the top, and then that should bleed itself at that point. Again, the good part, 208, so good in temperature. Oh, look at my gloves. So what I'm going to do is actually finish up the radiator mounting if I have time, and kind of clean up this mess right here. Yeah. As I was trying to figure out how to do the radiator top mount, or the upper mount for the radiator, I just realized I don't have any more brackets of any sort that I could actually use. Yeah, so gonna have to finish that later on. All that thought. Remember that Red Bull sign that I had? Well, forgot I had this. We're gonna have to go aluminum, but I think I can make this work. For the record, I do like aluminum more than steel, but the problem is it takes so much prep work like this. It's a little bit more work, but sometimes you gotta do what you get. Alright, so here's what I'm kind of thinking. I'm gonna go ahead and mount this like this on the trunk, and then this will be welded something like that, and that will be the top. Oh, that will be the top mount for the radiator. There you have it, guys. Still cannot weld aluminum. Right. There you go. Alright, so that is pretty much mounted. Check it out. Pretty solid, right? Now that notch right there definitely helps out. I mean, I can finally reach the bolt or the nut right there pretty easily. So that's, both sides are accessible because of this little notching here. So it looks pretty good. Pretty solid. Pretty much done with that. I mean, both sides looks good. Top mount looks good. Pretty solid. There's no movement on there at all, so that's pretty good. Only thing that I would probably do next is just kind of actually put some nice bushings in there, because I just picked up some random pieces. Alright guys, so pretty happy with how the radiator mounting turned out, and that means we get to mark one off our checklist. We have officially permanently created a mount for the radiator. Awesome. Alright guys, so that is gonna be it for today. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.